What's going on, Paisanos? V here. Today I'm going to show you guys my Shaddoll Invoked Dogmatika, all that jazz deck profile. Now, this build is unlike DPE. DPE is a lot more straight lined, and I feel like with this build it's meant to fight just the entire meta, including DPE Invoke, which you're probably going to be seeing a lot of. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over my main side extra, and then once we're done with that, I'll go over and we'll talk about why I made my choices I made. Alright, so for the monster count, we got 3 Alistair the Invoker, 1 Shaddoll Beast, 1 Shaddoll Dragon, 1 Shaddoll Ariel, 1 Shaddoll Hedgehog, 1 Shaddoll Wendy, and 1 Shaddoll Squamata. Alright. Then we got Dogmatika Maximus, Fleur-de-Lis, and Ecclesia, Plasma, and Celestial. So that's the entire monster lineup. As you can tell, I'm not running hand traps, and like I said, I'll explain why in a bit. If you want to see this deck in action, go over and follow me on Twitch TV. Links will be down below. I'm going to be playing this deck in Remote Duel Locals today to show how this deck works. For the spells, we have 3 Fusion Destinies, 3 Magical Meltdown, 3 Shaddoll Fusions, and 3 Nadir Servants, as well as 3 Pot of Prosperities. We're also playing 2 Invocations, 1 Eldar Fusion, and 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. Then for our traps, we're going to be rocking 3, they're going to be 1, 3 Infinite Impermanence, 1 Dogmatika Punishment, 1 Restaurant Incarnation, and 1 Shaddoll Schism. Hopefully it's not too much glare. Alright. So we'll go over the side deck real quickly. Just give you a heads up what I'm looking to do with the side deck. We're gonna be running 3. That's even better actually. 3 Nibiru, 3 Jewel and Lockbird. We are running the Gamma package. It just runs really well. We're gonna be rocking out with 3 Cosmic Cyclone and triple Lightning Storm. So it's our 15 card side deck. For the extra deck, we're looking to play 2 Construct, 2 Winda, and 2 App Cologne, basically the basic Shaddoll package. Invoked, we got 1 Ogoides, 1 Ragent, and 1 Mechaba. Then we're going to have Elder Entity Entis, Destiny Hero Phoenix Destroyer, Omega, Gravity Controller, Artemis, and Verta Anaconda. So we'll start backwards. So obviously the extra deck is a little bit different, being the fact that we run Dogmatika Maximus. Everyone's probably wondering, well, what's going on? Where's your Almirage? Well, you really don't need it. You see, when you do Maximus, what you're going to do is you're going to send your Omega plus your App Clone. That's ideally the 2 cards you're always going to be sending is your Omega and App Clone. So my thought process was, well, I'll send Omega and App Clone. I'll get value for App Clone. And if I need to, I can cycle in any card, being the App Clone or any other card I want to use. This card has a ton of versatility in this deck and a ton of usage. So I decided to get as much value as possible. A cool thing about this is you also have Gamma in the side, which works really well. So you can actually bring this out that way as well if you wanted to. I really do like I still like Anaconda and Artemis. One card I think that is 50-50 on. So as you can tell over here, I run 3 Invoke monsters. Normally, I ideally like to run 4. But we're just going to be running 1 Raging, 1 Ogoides, and 1 Mechaba. This could be any one of those if you want to try that out. I personally like Gravity Controller because if we can only bring out 1 Shaddoll monster, we still want to get rid of that, so we're going to add a Schism. The idea behind this deck is double Schism. That's the simple idea behind this entire deck. A lot of decks can't really handle it really well. This deck does have a DPE side to it, but for the most part, you can do Schism twice, being the fact that we main Shaddoll Fusions and Eldar Fusions. And I feel like a lot of opponents have a huge issue against going against Winda. First turn, you bring out Winda instead of Schism. That means your opponent, for Forbidden Drop is your current Winda, you just bring the second one out, and we're going to game 2, if not game 3, if not done. So that's why I like doing that. So that's my thought process behind this entire build. Once again, we still have to run Entis. I'm not a big fan of Entis, but you still have to run the card just because it works really well with Dogmatika Punishment as well as Maximus. So I still play 2 of each of the shows because we can go into them relatively easily, so you still kind of need them. I'm not going to spend too much time on the side. I'm just going to point out one thing real quickly. We do Lightning Storm and Cosmic Cyclone because when our opponent has Artifact Psi, we really want to hit that with Cosmic Cyclone. That's a card we really want to get in there and focus on. Lightning Storm is still a phenomenal card, and clearing up back row kind of wins the game. Think about it. We play against Strikers, Lightning Storm in the back row, the game's over. Playing against birds, hey, once you break that spell trap negate, if they even go to it, some birds decks are just cutting it altogether or not fully being able to go into it. Lightning Storm clears their board. Clearing their board means you're able to make your board and relock them. So Lightning Storm is actually insanely huge. Some Shaddoll decks do play it, some decks don't, and if you're not playing it, definitely test it out if you have the card, of course. If you don't have the card, you can always play cards like Twin Twister, which is not bad, but not ideal. So I hate Gamma. I've always hated Gamma. I hated this package, but it works really well when you know you're going first, game 2 or game 3, guaranteeing a lot of your 1-up spells, well, your 3-up spells to proc off. So this card's actually really huge. And of course, Shaddoll Nib's kind of standard. All right, looking at our trap lineup, Schism's definitely the card of the format for Shaddoll players. This card's insane. Opening with this card is huge. Adding this card to a hand. Getting a Doll monster in graveyard on Schism means you're going to be able to go Winda. This is how you go Winda your opponent's turn for the most part. I still do Rush Hour Incarnation, and I feel like not a lot of Doll players do it, but there's so many ways to add Schism just this alone with a couple of cards, and I'll show you the combo in a bit if anyone doesn't know. You still play Punishment. Now, every Doll deck has at least 3 hand traps. Some decks just only have 3 hand traps. I'm the same way. I only like to play 3 hand traps in my Dolls because it focuses away from what the deck wants to do. The reason why these are so important, 1, because Talents does nothing. 2, because if your opponent has a full Sword Soul board, you hit the negation with the Baron, and then you gotta worry about all you gotta worry about is 2 cards, which is relatively easy to play around. Sword Souls is actually really easy for this build. And this card is good in general. Like, this is one of those cards I just really like. And of course, they're playing 3, can only be 1. Even going first, this card's huge. The second we break their board, which this deck is meant to do, last fall, I've been watching me on Twitch, all I was doing was breaking boards and setting my boards up with ease. And that's what this deck can do as well. Why not add 1 card that makes it so if our opponent just try to break us back, there's 1 card resets the way they play. We have to play Harvest Fell Luster, and the reason why is because everyone is playing Mystic Mine. Konami didn't ban that card. Hopefully the upcoming bans they do, so we play 1 Harvest Fell Luster. Listen, I play 42 in the main, and if you don't have Prosperities, I get it. I'll talk about this in a second, but if you take these 3 cards out, you can add another Eldar fusion, and it works really well as well. You don't need this, and I'll explain why this is important, even though I don't like this card, but you can add a second Eldar fusion, which is still really good. Once again, your opponent goes Psy, you have Eldar some material, you're going to be able to go fusion something in your opponent's turn, as they're trying to go Scythe on you, which is absolutely huge. So, Eldar fusion, definitely a phenomenal card. The reason we run 3 Possible Prosperities, and the reason why I want to run 3 Possible Prosperities, even though I don't like this card, a couple of reasons. 1, it's expensive. It's overpriced. 2, Tier 1 decks don't play it. Tier 1.5 and below, they kind of use it. 3, and most importantly, this makes a 1.5 deck a lot more consistent. We're going to open hands that aren't always going to be the best hands. This is going to allow us to go into it. By the way, we don't never banish 6, always banish 3 with this. Yes, it's like Power Duality, except we can still special summon, which is very relevant. So that's why you need this card. I'm not a big fan of this card, but I understand why it's useful in this deck. Hopefully when a meta slows down more, and that's why this card's good. It's indicative of a fast meta. When the meta slows down more, hopefully we'll be able to get rid of this card and play better cards, but for now we have to run Prosperity. I think all the 3s are pretty much the same. Meltdown feels good. Fusion Destiny feels a good card as well. Some people play 1, some people play 3. The reason why I don't like playing 1 is because my opponent, if I go Anaconda and I activate Anaconda effect for cost, my opponent stops from my Anaconda, let's say Infinite Impermanence, now I can't go in my combo at all. So that's why we play 3. Look in the main deck. Obviously, it's almost similar to my previous builds. I'll get to that in a second. So, Plasma's not supposed to be Plasma. Plasma's supposed to be Dasher. I don't own any Dashers, and I'm not dropping 15 bucks on a common. That's ridiculous. I'm just going to buy the ulti soon, so this will be a Dasher eventually, so just ignore that. For our Dolls, we have 1-ups, Beasts, all these 1-up Dolls, as you can see over here. Ideally, I would do the same with everything and just play double Squamata, double Wendy. The reason why we don't do that is because the deck's insanely tight, and we want to care about our first turn as much as possible. The minute we're past first turn, then we could care about other stuff, but that's why we don't want to play this too much. We don't want to open hands with too much Dolls in it, if that makes any sense. You really don't want to open double Dolls in hands. Maybe 1 Doll, and that's all you really need. So why are we running Maximus? I'm not a big fan of Maximus, but like I said before, our turn 1's insanely important. Once again, we want to go double Winda if possible. If we cannot go double Winda, we want to guarantee at least Schism. And Maximus is going to help us guarantee Schism. So that's why we have to play this card. This card, once again, I'm not crazy about this card, but it's definitely a card we can play. I'm still testing it out, and I'll probably have more information in the future, but we kind of got to play Maximus. Not excited to say that, but it is what it is. And you know, as far as, you know, this card, because this card's going to help us get to a lot of stuff. And that's pretty much a deck. Oh, let me go into one of the combos that I feel like a lot of players are just not doing. I'm watching a lot of Doll players, and they don't really go into a combo really. It's a relatively easy combo. So it's realistically, if you open up these two, Dogmatika obviously will help you get into a Schism, but this is another way to get into Schism. So let's say your hand is one of Alistair and one of these two, okay? Which comes up a lot. I mean, you got 3 Meltdown, you got 3 Alistair, you're going to get this. And these are relatively easy to get as well. Well, open, especially if you play multiples, depending on your build. We'll go ahead and add, I mean, this doesn't really matter. We'll just do Squamata. Okay. So what I'm going to do is with these 2 cards is I'm going to summon Alistair. Alistair effects going to get negated. I'm supposed to add Dial Fusion. You got Dial Fusion or Eldar Fusion. It doesn't really matter. Eldar's better, but so I'm going to go ahead and add Dial Fusion. Summon Alistair, Alistair effect they negated, more than likely. They say, do you have it? And you're like, you know, it doesn't matter. I'm going to body you in 2 seconds. You're going to get rid of Alistair, Liquid Alistair away, and go into Artemis. Activate Dial Fusion. And with Dial Fusion, you're going to use your Artemis and you use Squamata, and you're going to go ahead and go into a Construct. Now, they both do the same exact thing. They both send a Dial card to the graveyard. People are still going to ask you. I don't know why, but it's always happened with me. One of the cards is going to be Restaurant Incarnation, and the other card is going to be Wendy. Now, what's going to happen is Wendy's effect's going to activate, and it's going to let you set Shaddoll Hedgehog. So you set your Hedgehog with Wendy's effect. The Restaurant Incarnation's in graveyard, and now you have an option. You can use it, obviously, by banishing it. And then you could choose which one. I personally like having Wendy in graveyard because it's a win, so in case I want to go App Cologne. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to banish Squamata. And that's going to flip up your Hedgehog. And what that's going to do, let you add an Shaddoll card. So you're ideally going to add Schism in Game 1. Game 2 and 3, you got an Eldar, depending on how you feel. But Schism for the most part. And what's going to happen is, with these two, we can get rid of these two, add back the Shaddoll Fusion, and go into Anaconda. This combo's not even done yet. We're going to Anaconda, and what we have in our hand is Schism and Dial Fusion. Now we're going to activate Anaconda, we're going to dump out 2 materials, and we're going to make Destiny Hero, Phoenix Enforcer. Now what do we have here? We have a spell and a trap. So next turn, depending on what we draw, we can actually draw from the Phoenix Enforcer, number 1. Number 2, we're going to go ahead and set Schism, which tells our opponent, hey, we got Winda for you, so what are you going to do about it? By the way, if you clear my entire board, including my Winda, you still have to deal with the Dial Fusion or the Eldar, depending on how you look at it. I personally like Eldar more, because what you do is, you go Schism. Schism makes your Winda come out, and then you got an Eldar in case your opponent wants to get froggy with you. You go ahead and make an Eldar, and that's how you make your second one. So, really depends how you want to do that. That's basically one of the basic combos with the deck. The deck has a ton of cool combos, and if you want to see any one of those, all you got to do is watch me on Twitch TV, YGO_Paisano. Links will be down below. I'll go over all the stuff with this deck. You'll see it in action. You'll see how it works, and hopefully we don't play against Mystic Mind Burn. Anyway, Paisanos, I really appreciate you watching my videos. It's V. And you Paisanos have a great day.